Chicago smokers, prepare for some changes. I have news on the city's new smoking ordinance when we come back.
Also coming up on Loyola News Chicago, how a new app could make traveling around the city a little safer, and why protesting on campus just got easier.
From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Hello and welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Macy Krupasevich.
And I'm Tom Hush. Here's the news. The smoking age in Chicago has officially changed. Elise Haas has the story.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been talking about changing the smoking age for a while. And finally, City Council voted to up the smoking age to 21. Other cities like New York, Kansas City, Boston, Cleveland, and Evanston already have ordinances in place. So we talked to some students. Most of them felt that the change was for the best, but they still had their reservations.
I think it's a good idea that Chicago moved the age to 21 for smoking. I've heard a lot of students maybe talk about smokers throwing the buds like just all over campus and not really taking care of the environment and stuff, so I think it's a really good idea that Chicago is kind of taking the extra step to helping young people maybe stay away from smoking and kind of taking care of their bodies as well as the environment.
Hey, I think it's good that we're trying to protect people against cancer, a disease that is just killing people every day. But I think it's also taking rights away from people.
I think it's a good idea because I know that it's a problem among college age kids and stuff especially, but I also think that there's probably going to be lots of students even at Loyola who are going to get kind of angry about it. Because
the city says the ordinance is supposed to help young people not get addicted to nicotine at an early age. Elise Haas, Loyola News, Chicago.
The alderman also outlawed discounts, slapped on a $6 million tax on tobacco products, and banned chew altogether at professional and amateur sporting events, including baseball stadiums. Tell us what you think at Twitter at Loyola TV. Good news for women who don't consider their monthly cycle to be a luxury. There has been a lot of controversy over whether or not Chicago will continue to tax feminine hygiene products. The city council recently voted to potentially eliminate the sales tax on tampons. They redefined feminine hygiene products as medical necessities to exempt them from city sales taxes. The law is scheduled to take effect in Chicago by the beginning of next year. City Council is holding off on applying the law until next year in hopes that Springfield will exempt hygiene products from sales tax statewide.
In 2014, the Sierra Club named Loyola the 4th greenest campus in the country, but there is always room for improvement.
Mayor Rahm.
We're doing a lot. There's definitely always more to be done. Things we do in the classroom, things we do in terms of research are kind of one area in which Loyola tries to address these issues. The other area is just thinking about Loyola as another institution, right? We have buildings, we use resources to build those buildings, to heat and cool them, to maintain them. So there's a whole set of measures, including like the biodiesel program and the urban agriculture that in which the school has tried to minimize its own footprint. And I think the hope there is that we help be an example for how to be a sustainable operation.
That's why each year Loyola's Institute of Environmental Sustainability holds the Climate Change Conference. Professor Johnson is just one of many panelists and speakers at this year's event. His panel will react to keynote speaker Naomi Klein in her speech on the impacts of capitalism on the climate. Klein is known for her 2 international bestseller books. Her newest book, This Changes Everything, is already 4th on the New York Times bestseller list. Klein will kick off the conference Thursday night. Protesting at Loyola just got a whole lot easier. After consideration and input from students and staff, 3 sections of the demonstration policy have been updated and added to the university's community standards. Highlights include no longer needing to get permission from university officials to demonstrate, as well as students also are now allowed to use megaphones and other tools used to amplify sound.
Recently, we reported that Campus Transportation will be launching an app for their 8-ride service. On Friday, the wait for this app is over. In an email sent to the student body before spring break, the manager of campus transportation announced that Loyola will conduct a soft launch of the app with a small group of students this month. According to Tim McGurman, Loyola's Associate Vice President of Capital Planning, the feedback from the group of students who tested the app was positive. McGurman also confirmed that the campus-wide launch of the 8Ride app will be on March 18th. The app will allow students to request a ride, track the location of 8Ride vans, and get an estimate of when their ride will be arriving. Further instructions on how to use the app will be provided after its release. Both Android and iPhone users will be able to download the app.
The U.S. Senate could admit a Chicagoland native into the highest court in the land. On Wednesday, President Barack Obama nominated Judge Merrick Garland to be a Supreme Court justice and replace the late Justice Antonin Scalia. Garland was born in Chicago. He grew up in north suburban Lincolnwood, which is about 5 miles away from Loyola's Lakeshore campus. Garland is a graduate of Niles West High School. He then went to Harvard University, where he was named the valedictorian of his class. But whether Garland actually gets to serve is another question. Many Republicans in the Senate say they won't approve a nominee until the next president picks up one. Illinois voters cast their ballots in the primary election this week. Reporter Patrick Grabarczyk gives us some insight into voter turnout.
Both presidential frontrunners had another strong night on Tuesday. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump each won their races in several states and both increased their delegate leads. In Illinois, nearly 1.5 million votes were cast in the Republican primary. Democratic turnout was slightly higher with just under 2 million votes. According to the Chicago Board of Elections, 18 to 24-year-old voters in the city cast just over 3,000 votes. While this is a small percentage of the overall turnout, one politically active Loyola student remains optimistic.
In the state of Illinois, we saw a near record turnout for a primary election, which is always great. And in precincts surrounding Loyola and other college campuses in the city and in the rest of the state, we did break turnout records by a long shot. That obviously is a huge improvement over what we saw in the 2014 midterms. As far as student participation goes, students are very excited that college affordability and criminal justice reform and income inequality and LGBT rights have been so central to the campaigning of all of our candidates. But as a whole, I would say that students are more excited about the possibilities than anxious about what could happen.
We did reach out to college Republicans at Loyola, but they declined our request for an interview. Candidates are back on the campaign trail this week as primary voting resumes in more states on March 22nd. Now back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Patrick. The field of Republican candidates dropped to 3 on Tuesday. Senator Marco Rubio suspended his campaign after losing the primary in his home state of Florida.
Speaking of elections, campaigns for Loyola's student government positions are in full swing. SGLC's presidential running mates include Jason Pica and Shaniqua Mitchell, Jimmy McHugh and Craig Paulson, Mariana Chavez and Adam Roberts, and finally, Michael Flowers and George Henry. Their detailed campaign information can be found on luc.edu/SGLC. The student government campaign ends March 21st, and voting will be held the following 2 days. All ballots will be sent to LUC email accounts, so be sure to cast your vote. Election results will be announced on March 24th.
Coming up on Loyola News, there's a new way to satisfy your late night hunger.
And it's been basketball madness since the start of the month. More on that when we come back.
There are so many fun things we all can do to be healthier, no matter who you are or where you are. So let's move.
Oh, here we go.
Let's stretch in the grass.
What a play.
Let's play tag.
Wow, unbelievable.
Let's jump up and down.
Oh, what a way to finish it.
And most of all, let's eat better so that we have the energy we need to play an hour a day, every day.
Everyone can play. Just go to letsmove.gov to learn more.
Abandoned and lost. From the dark, cold streets of the city to a cage in the local shelter, to heaven, your lap.
There are so many fun things we all can do to be healthier, no matter who you are or where you are. So let's move.
Oh, here we go.
Let's stretch in the grass.
What a play.
Let's play tag.
Wow, unbelievable.
Let's jump up and down.
Oh, what a way to finish it.
And most of all, let's eat better so that we have the energy we need to play an hour a day, every day.
Everyone can play. Just go to letsmove.gov to learn more.
Welcome back to Loyola News Chicago. We have an Arch Madness recap for you regarding both the men and the women. We go to Blake Keller for the latest sports updates.
That's right, Macy. While students took a break, Loyola's men's basketball traveled to St. Louis for Arch Madness. The Ramblers didn't take the Missouri Valley Conference title, but they did make it to the quarterfinals. Here's a recap. The first round of the tournament saw Bradley take on Loyola. Here you see Julius Rajala with this big dunk. At the end of the half, Bradley hits a long three at the buzzer to tie the game, and they head to the locker room. In the second half, Ben Richardson gets a three in the basket before falling to the floor. A minute left, Earl Peterson hits a three. Loyola wins 74-66, advancing to the quarterfinals. The next day, Loyola is at Wichita State. Milton Doyle gets his first dunk of the season in the first 2 seconds of the game. On the opposite end, Ron Baker shows he's the king of threes. Shockers lead. Baker's back with another three, giving him his game-high 25 points. Shockers advance past Loyola 66-58, ending Loyola's basketball season.
They just were hanging on every word, and they gave you everything they had today, and it was very, very tough because it's that the great Herb Brooks quote, great opportunities, great moments happen from great opportunities, and we had a great opportunity today, and it was close to being a great moment, but it wasn't.
The women's basketball team also had their Missouri Valley Conference tournament last weekend. The Ramblers secured their spot in the quarterfinals and went on to face Southern Illinois. Dakota Van led the Ramblers in points, but fifth seed Loyola was unable to make it past fourth seed Salukis. Final score was 73-64. Now Arch Madness is over. College basketball fans are expecting a different kind of madness, March Madness. Taylor Utzik found favorite picks from Loyola students and a special familiar face.
The madness has begun. People are putting together their March Madness brackets. We met with some students to hear their predictions, along with Sister Jean's own picks.
Because I have my brackets all ready, I have to say that this year is been the hardest year to decide. And I'm not sure exactly what that's about. I've been trying to think about it, but I think it's because we have no school with a perfect score, and everybody has lost games. Some have lost games to schools of a lower seed, and some have lost games by 1 point or 2 points.
So I have two brackets. One are off teams I want to win, and I have Iowa State winning that. It's not Missouri Valley, so not messing with the Ramblers, so that's always exciting. But also I have a friend who goes to Iowa State. But who I think is going to win, I have Oklahoma winning.
My prediction is that the University of Kansas will win it all because they are the best school in the country. They have one of the highest ranked programs, and they do really well in basketball generally year to year.
President Obama agrees with Millie. He also thinks KU is going to win it all. Taylor Utzik, Loyola News, Chicago.
Chicago is preparing for the NFL draft next month, and fans are in for a treat. From now until March 25th, fans are able to enter to win 2 free tickets to the Auditorium Theater. Winners over the age of 18 will receive an email at the beginning of April and must RSVP to qualify. There are a limited number of tickets, so if fans aren't able to attend the draft, there is a free fan festival at Grant Park all 3 days of the draft. Now that you're all caught up, make sure you fill out that March Madness bracket. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's it for our sports update. Thanks, Blake. There's a new way to get food here in Chicago with a new app called Uber Eats. The company describes their new app as Uber, but for food. Open 8 a.m. to midnight, you can order from local participating restaurants to have your favorite meals delivered straight to your door. Students we talked to are curious and questioning the new food delivery system.
I actually do use Uber quite a lot, so this new thing is pretty cool. I think it's going to be a really good competitor for Grubhub, and I want to see, if it's a little better or not. See what happens.
Uber Eats is there, like, trying to do something different besides just driving around and picking people up, like a taxi service. I probably won't use it because it seems like Grubhub is going to be cheaper. So.
Uber Eats has an instant delivery menu which can get you food from your favorite restaurant within 10 minutes. You pay with your Uber account and can track where your food is at the entire time from start to delivery. Make sure to check your emails because if you're already an Uber user, they send out coupon codes for free delivery and $10 off your first order for the app launch.
The latest entry into NBC's Chicago franchise has changed its name and added a new star. Chicago Justice, formerly called Chicago Law, is a new legal drama from Law & Order creator Dick Wolf. The show will share settings, characters, and such with the series Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. The show has also added actor Nazine Contractor as a second lead. She will appear with co-star Philip Winchester in an upcoming episode of Chicago PD to introduce the characters. Chicago Justice will be the fourth entry into the franchise, which began in 2012 and is Wolf's fifth drama for NBC.
Coming up in our Loyola News Extra, we demonstrate how to cook some traditional Irish food.
And wait until you see who's celebrating the holiday close to our campus.
Come on. How you feel? How you feel? I'm feeling good. Spin me, spin me. Gotcha. Oh, goodness.
Rosita, did you know there's a right way to sneeze? Let's show them, Elmo. Got it. When you feel like your nose needs to give it at you, this is how you act, this is what you do. Lift your arm up high, bend it toward your face. Sneeze right there in the bendy place. Achoo! Achoo! You can do it with ease. Achoo! Achoo! That's the right way to sneeze. Thank you.
To learn more about preventing flu, visit flu.gov.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone! Chicago celebrates St. Patrick's Day in many ways, but the local favorite seems to be the river dyeing ceremony. According to ChooseChicago.com, nearly 400,000 spectators came to watch the Chicago River transform to a bright emerald green. It took 45 pounds of eco-friendly vegetable dye to give the river its vibrant green color. This tradition dates all the way back to 1962. As of 2014, there are more than 196,000 Irish Americans living in Chicago.
I don't know about you, but St. Patrick's Day makes me hungry. Katrina Lim is here with today's Loyola News Extra.
Thanks, Tom. I can't give you any food, but I can show you how to make some. Many people celebrate St. Patrick's Day with green clothes, drinking alcohol, or watching the parade, but others might celebrate with food. After browsing through websites like Cooking.New York Times and The Daily Meal, some of their most popular Irish recipes seem to be corned beef and cabbage, Irish soda bread, Irish stew, potato pancakes, and bangers and mash. Bangers and mash is basically sausages and mashed potatoes. So now you've seen some of the most popular Irish dishes. I actually went into the kitchen and tried cooking one of them, Irish stew. Step 1. Heat pan to medium-high heat and place 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in a deep pot. Brown half of your lamb or beef neck on all sides. Season with salt and pepper. I used beef in this demonstration since it was a little cheaper than lamb at my local supermarket. Set meat aside. Repeat this process with the other half of your meat and set aside. Step 2. Add 2-inch cut carrot pieces and onion wedges to the same pot. Season with salt and pepper. Cook your vegetables and stir for 5 minutes. Step 3. Return your meat to the pot. Add beef broth and sprigs of thyme. For a thicker stew, add shredded potato. Arrange potato pieces on top and season with salt and pepper. For extra flavor, add a splash of Worcestershire sauce. Step 4. Stir a little and bring stew to a boil. After it boils, lower the heat to simmer and cover the pot with a lid. After an hour, your stew should be ready to eat. Enjoy! My roommate, who's part Irish, did say I did a good job on the stew. So, Tom, do you have any experience cooking Irish food?
I actually do. My grandmother is from Ireland, and I think she would say that's a good-looking stew.
Oh.
What about you, Macy?
I mean, it definitely makes me hungry, and job well done. It looked really well.
Thanks.
Thanks, Katrina.
People are celebrating St. Paddy's Day not too far from the studio with plenty of festive celebrations, including a Chicago sports celebrity. Reporter Larissa Castillo caught the party firsthand.
Chicago is still green after the river dying last Saturday. Many people are observing the St. Patrick's Day holiday with shots of Jameson and green beer, including former Bears player Steve McMichael.
Patrons celebrated the Irish holiday at Pippin's Tavern. Thanks to the warm weather, they were able to celebrate outside and enjoy the sounds of traditional Irish bagpipes. Men and women of all ages took part in the festivities, but they didn't stay long. There were plenty more pubs to stop at before the day is through.
Pippin's Tavern is just one of the stops on the St. Patrick's Day bar crawl. Larissa Castillo, Loyola, New Chicago.
I mean, celebrations are going crazy still. How are you going to celebrate St. Pat's Day tonight, Tom?
Well, I don't want to be too candid, but Guinness. That's our news for today. Thank you for watching.
And to end the newscast today, we have video of the Chicago River being dyed green from Loyola photographer Patrick Grabarczyk. Happy St. Patrick's Day.